All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February Monuments and Ceremonies Commission meeting. Let's start off with a roll call. Indeed. So Sue Ann Shore, I'm the chairman.
Jim Long.
Nancy Natal.
Isabel Negro.
Autumn Howard.
An interested bystander.
All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and review. I think everyone's had a chance to take a look at them. We have a correction to the spelling of Isabel's last name. Were there any other issues with the minutes from January? Anybody? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept these
I move.
minutes? A second to that motion? Isabel seconds that. So all in favor? And let's approve the minutes from January then. So moved. Okay.
I have one quick.
Oh, yeah.
The display case. The display case committee is responsible for developing displays about the Veterans Street Sign Program. When did that happen?
I
think it means that we are putting a display
for the
about
street sign program in the display case. They're doing it. You're not doing it.
The Veterans Street
Because
Sign.
I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't
No.
know. Okay.
Okay.
Just poor English.
Make sure that's on there. Okay. Let's see. So commission staffing, we still are awaiting someone from out in our town to demonstrate their interest. We're looking still, as noted in the minutes, someone that is either Democrat, independent, or unaffiliated. So please let us know. We're also certainly welcoming and open to anyone, any interested bystanders that want to come and participate in any of our committees and enjoy these fabulous meetings with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bring your friends. Okay, chairman's report. So a few things happened this month. Number one, we received an email from the art department, which we can talk about under the display case. Nancy and I talked about that, so we'll.
Can I interrupt you one more time? On this, Terry Wood spells her name Terrie, not Y.
Okay,
Correct.
that is correct.
Okay.
Did I not change that?
No, in both
And it
places.
probably
Should
fixed
be
it for
IE.
you.
Thank you.
Probably
Okay.
edited it for you.
Okay.
Your computer helped you out.
I doubt it. Probably just ineptitude.
Just you. Well, don't worry, we won't fire you.
I wish you would.
All right, and the second item, we received a call from an email, actually through Terry Wood, from the newspaper, interested in the grave marker of the little girl that Rob Hulick is working on. So we'll circle back to that. So that was all of interest and import for this week, or this month, from me.
So it was the newspaper, and what was the first one
The
again?
first one was the art department of the
that's right.
schools is interested in getting into they're coming to the town hall and want to use the display case.
They are going to use it in April. I reached out to.
Oh, great.
I thought I
Well,
had
here
one.
you are. You're up.
Yeah.
Display
That's it.
case.
Yeah,
Let's
update.
talk about that now.
Jacqueline, I think her name was. I thought I had brought up email that she had sent. Maybe I didn't.
So the Darien Public Schools had a hiatus, a COVID hiatus from
Right.
displaying their artwork here in town hall.
But now
and
they're going to do it in April.
now they're coming back in April, and it's going to be displayed potentially in the hallways, but also they're going to use the display case,
Here it is.
which
Yeah.
is great.
Her name is Jacqueline, Jaclyn Sammis, Sammis.
She's the head of art at the high school.
Yeah.
She's really, really sweet and giving. Whenever you need or ask for anything from her, she's been she's
Oh.
amazing.
Okay.
So anyway, she's going to take it for April.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, when I spoke to her, she had kind of said, well, we used to do it all the time. And I was like, No, honestly,
We reached out
just
to them for a
have one, yeah.
while, yeah, and she never
Just
responded,
have a
yeah.
conversation with us and let us know you
Yeah.
what you want to do.
Well,
with
Susan
it.
wasn't-
sent
it-
this to me, so,
apparently
yeah.
not.
All right, yeah, it wasn't a no, I swear.
No.
So April is the month for
Super.
the schools.
That's perfect.
All right, excellent, thank you. Okay, any other display case
No,
interest? Okay, so just to let everyone know, there is an application in, a very simple, straightforward application in the First Selectman's office, I believe. That's where the forms are, is that right? Yeah. And I just would come to the commission, to Nancy Natali, if you're interested in putting something into that display case, we will take a look at your application and we vote on it here.
oh, she didn't send me an application, she just,
Well, that's
we
okay.
emailed
I'm
back
just,
and
I'm
forth,
just
so.
offering
Right.
for
Because
other
we should do something
people.
for Memorial Day in May.
Yes, that's something we generally do, and wasn't that what we just talked
I'm
about?
thinking caps on and figure out what we're gonna do for Memorial Day.
Yeah, we can, amongst
All
the
of us, yeah.
commission, put it together.
Even if we just hang a flag.
Yeah, yep, I think that we've done things in the past. I can't call to mind exactly what they looked like, but
I knew I had these, I put them in that
a
pile.
picture of the chair of the Memorial Day Parade Committee. A color picture, right, Terry?
What's that?
A picture of the chairman of the Memorial Day Parade Committee. That would be you.
Why do we need it?
I don't know. Just thinking of something to put in
Putting
there.
you in the case.
And everybody will put darts out that people.
No darts, no darts.
No darts. Okay. Wartime Veteran Street Sign Program update.
I have yet to send all the files. I'm still trying to assemble background data. There's one potential candidate who is a Medal of Honor winner. And I have not completed, it's been devilishly hard because he's World War I. He's been dead
Goodness
since
gracious, wow.
1976. So I'm having a hard time getting through the files. I actually ended up paying for Ancestry.com and newspapers.com this month to see if I can find more than what I found by asking around. So
What is this name?
Nancy, no names, ever, on anything.
What number?
Okay, numbers. Because if he's not nominated, why have his family know that
I
he was
hear
turned
you,
down?
okay.
This is for the street sign program.
Right.
I thought that was different from.
No, anytime
That's all
anytime
anonymous.
anybody is being considered for a public position, the N-word, never use their name until that individual has been selected. Because it's just, you're raising false hopes for everyone else.
But you have approved applications for Memorial Day, right?
No.
No?
No, no, we're
Oh, I
talking
thought we
about
did.
Veteran Street Sign Program, let's not mix.
That's what I
oil
said,
and
for
vinegar.
Veteran Street Sign Program for Memorial Day
Right,
presentation.
we have 6
Apps?
submissions in right now,
Okay.
yeah. But I want to make sure that this 7th is in there as well, because
Yeah.
if everything else checks out, I don't think I'm breaking any confidence to say a Medal of Honor winner is going to get my vote if everything else adds up.
Okay. So you'll have that,
Hopefully, again, I just paid for the newspaper.com subscription. Cost me $60, but, and I was running into stone walls trying to
Right.
get information
Sometimes it
without
gets
it,
hard.
so.
in any event, there, you have a pool of applications, so
Correct.
we will be
Yeah.
presenting a street
Yeah.
sign.
I mean, if I
Memorial Day
cannot
timeframe.
get enough information to supplement the community service part within the next week, then I'll just have to put that potential applicant off until
Maybe
November.
Veterans Day,
Yeah.
okay. Super,
Yeah,
well,
because
thank
we
you.
will be running up, we need a 90-day window, so I have another 2 weeks, basically.
Great, okay, thank you. Excellent. Okay, Cemetery Committee. So, aside from the fact, the new news that the weed, sorry, what did I say that was? The weed graveyard number 1 sign is broken, so we'll be looking into getting that replaced. And then Rob Hulick sent an update on, he's not going to be able to make it today, but he's working to find the burial spot of Emma Bingham. And
Oh, we finally have the name?
Mm-hmm. And Karen Pollitt has been helping him with that.
How do you spell Bingham?
Bingham.
G-H-A-M.
Mhm. And let's see.
And there was no new news on the budget.
And he's.
Oh, but that's a different subject.
Yes.
You
Which-
mentioned something about getting in.
Yep, so he has been working with Molly Hirsch, I believe that's Darien Times. And so he said there's been a lot of back and forth on the headstone, and we're currently trying to get the stone to the right location. If we are able to locate the correct location in Norotan River Cemetery, the stone has been cleaned by Friends of Milford and Wilbert Vault, Norwalk, and is ready to travel to Darien to carefully install the stone. Oh, and here's the history. Oh, this is good. So September 2022, Friends of Milford Cemetery reached out saying they had a headstone belonging to Emma Bingham, who died, I can send you this if you want.
Great.
Yeah. September 24th, 1863, aged 3 years, 2 days.
Wow.
They wanted to return it to Norotan River Cemetery where they believed it belonged. Milford Cemetery Association had no idea of when or how Emma's stone came to be at the cemetery. It has been stored in a lost and found area of the cemetery for many years.
Oh.
Last year, they took on the task of identifying over 30 gravestones for repair or relocation. They were able to identify Emma's and her parents, and that Hale, which is a record-keeping system for cemeteries, had recorded her in the Norotan River Cemetery. Further research found that her parents, Edward and Nora A. Bingham, appeared to be buried in Mountain Grove Cemetery in Bridgeport. Aided by Karen Pollitt, we determined that Emma was listed in Hale in 1934, but not included in any list of maps that the town did of that cemetery in 1988. Whoever removed the stone did it in that time frame, which is over a 50-year span. Oh boy, they subsequently found a Hale revision that claimed to be done in 2012, listing Emma in plot 9786 at Norotan River Graveyard. But her stone wasn't there at the time, so it's difficult to determine whether it's accurate. If we were to go to the cemetery, we could locate where the other people supposedly buried around her are buried, but we can't determine whether the stone and the body, or only the stone, were taken, which changes the situation legally. So they can't legally put her stone down if we aren't certain her body is there without special permission. So they're trying to determine if there's a state entity or if it's the town of Darien that would supply a permit for us to move forward. So it sounds like a whole pile of spaghetti.
It sure does.
Oh my goodness.
So they don't even know if there's a body there.
I guess.
So what if there's no body
Because her
there?
parents are in Bridgeport, why is she?
I
Yeah, why is
Right.
she here? Her parents are in Bridgeport.
I would think that's where she should
And
be
why is
buried.
it in, was it in Milford's
Why was it there?
storeroom?
It was in their lost and found. It was
Oh
just-
my goodness.
I had just a picture in my head.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, no.
So that's.
I could see a comedy movie. Groundhog
It's very
Day or
strange.
something like
The
that.
lost and found out what has them.
So that all cleared it up. So poor
Clear
poor
as mud.
Rob is continuing on
To
the
work.
case
Oh
to
my goodness.
see. And Karen, luckily, Karen's helping him out. She's very adept, I think, with the historical part and searching and
And the
stuff.
poor little thing's only 3 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
All this
Yeah.
For a 3-year-old,
How
that's
could that
amazing.
even- From
1863.
1860, yeah.
Just
Now, we
During the
mentioned
Civil War.
something about getting a report in or something.
Yeah.
Was that to do with the budget?
Yes, that was feedback from, he submitted the budget, but he doesn't have any feedback yet.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got that. But
Well, it
I thought
hasn't
you were
been-
looking for that.
So I somehow
I guess
managed
put
to
that in the
take out the
chairman's
budget.
report?
Yeah, maybe up to the chairman's report. So the number one, the annual report, which is due February 24th. Ryan's working on that, and he's going to submit that to us for review early next week. And he submitted our budget input, and haven't heard anything back on that, any feedback or guidance, but I think that's generally the case. Once you submit it, they kind of just put it in,
Yeah.
and we don't really hear anything back until we hear,
Everything.
here's your budget.
Everything.
So,
I'm surprised it hasn't been passed yet.
Yeah, I thought the town's budget was announced, wasn't it? No, that's was school.
I
The
think that
school
was
said they were,
schools,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So that is that. Cemetery committee, anything else from the cemetery committee? At some point,
Someone calling us from the ground?
Spam.
is that the cemetery committee?
Cemetery.
All right.
It's little Emma.
Where's my stone?
Where's my stone? It's not
The lost and found, sorry.
knocking from below. Poor Emma. Okay. And on to the Memorial Day Parade. So I don't believe anyone from the commission has stepped up, but maybe now is the moment when someone wanted to step up to ride shotgun with Terry this year. Anybody? So,
Well, I put out the timeline of what's required. February is a very light month. Tomorrow is my self-imposed deadline for national, first of all, let me backtrack. The application to the Connecticut Air National Guard for the flyover has already been submitted because that needs more time than anything. And they have already acknowledged receipt of the request. The next step is the request for the National Guard marching unit. And they ask for that 90 days in advance.
okay.
So I always give myself a little extra window. So my self-imposed deadline for that is the 15th of February, tomorrow. So I will submit that tomorrow. The other self-imposed deadline is to confer with the executive secretary about the contract with the Goodwives River Shopping Center because we must have a legal document giving us the right to use their property. So that has already been started, and reading between the lines, the person who works for the organization that owns the shopping center, I have a suspicion that the person who's the point person is a young lady who's just out of college every year, because we have to reinvent the wheel every year with them. And it always takes much longer than it ought to, which is why we start to do it in February. The only other thing in February is that the chair for the Monuments and Ceremonies Commission should be here at this meeting this month to once again say we need to ask the commission for any other names to be added to the potential speaker and grand marshal. I gave everybody copies of who I had for the grand marshal so far last month. Yeah,
this is the
I
grand
didn't.
marshal.
I didn't bring it
This
with
is
me.
the speaker.
But so
That's the speaker.
everybody's got.
I didn't see one for the
Hold
grand
on.
marshal.
Let me-
Oh,
I sent it electronically last month to everybody, so I will resend again, but the important point now is I need you all not to evaluate that list, but is there anybody that should be added?
Added.
That's what I need you guys to do, is who else am I missing? Because on occasion, the individual who ended up being the Grand Marshal was a doink. Why didn't I think of her or think of him? So I know that there is somebody worth considering that I don't have on my list yet, but obviously I don't know who that person is. So I need you all to rack your brains. Who do you know? They do not have to be a town resident. It's highly desirable they are. They must have served in the military. They do not have to have served during wartime or in combat. Obviously, those always are points in their favor, but they must have served in the military.
Okay.
They must have a community service component as well as military service. And basically, let me
Even
just...
if they're not a Darien resident?
They do not have to be a Darien resident. I mean, if we ever really got stuck, I would always submit my college roommate's name as the former SEAL over the admirals who got Osama bin Laden. I would always submit his name if nobody else in Darien were worthy.
He would be great.
Yeah, but I'd rather have somebody local. Always rather have,
I'm just saying, if you
personally.
come up with a candidate that's not a Darien resident, how do you fill in that component about community service?
Well, it's community service to the
Wherever.
nation.
Oh, to the nation,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be Darien.
Correct. Yeah. So the components are they must have served in the military, they must have been honorably discharged, and they must be out of the military at least 5 years. And that's for our protection. Because if they have a wonderful service record and community service record, and then they do something really stupid that's on the front page of the newspaper. Okay.
Help.
And again, they must have contributed to community civic service. Not necessary that they live or work in Darien, though either or both are preferable.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll resend the list of what I've got, but really at this point, it's about who am I missing that you know? For example, I know somebody who fills the bill who's not on the list.
We'll wait until the very last second. Throw it. Bring it on.
Just saying.
Well, technically, I'm still
So
serving.
that's for the,
That's a good one.
Technically, I'm still
So
serving. I'm
she's-
still in
right.
the reserve.
She's still in the reserve.
yeah.
I just sent you a
But I
couple of
turned him
names
down.
from Terry Wood.
Okay,
that she
good.
forwarded to me.
Yeah. So that's all I've got for Grand Marshal. Now, I did just lay out to everyone on a piece of paper who I have on my list for keynote speakers. And again, for keynote speakers, the optimal point to consider today is the same point. Is there anybody who's not on my list who should be on my list? So if you have a potential candidate that should be considered, please email me as much information as you can on them so I can include them. As to the list that I handed to everybody, my personal read on that list is candidate number one. I'm apprehensive because of what I've listed next to their name. So candidate number one would not be my first choice for that reason. Candidate number two is the only person that I have personally contacted about potentially being a speaker. And I contacted that person because I know their public speaking capability, because I've been at an event where this individual was a keynote speaker. Based upon what I've written in their CV there, I know that this person has an affinity for Memorial Day. So I'm very strong on number two. Number 3, 4, 5,
I think are fairly obvious. Number 5, I've seen public speaking also. 3, 4, and 5, I've seen all of them public speaking. So I don't have any qualms about their public speaking ability or their ability to deliver a good message. Candidate 6, I cannot really say I've heard candidate 6 speak in public, but I know that candidate 6 has a strong affinity for Memorial Day. Candidate 7, I've heard speak in public, and reasonably good public speaker, who also has a strong affinity for Memorial Day. So that's my long-winded way of saying, I think each one of these candidates merits strong consideration. But again, I'm sure there's at least one, if not more, individuals that I just haven't thought of to put on this list. So anybody that you think of, keeping in mind that the number one qualification is how good are they at public speaking? Because no matter how wonderful their sentiments are, if they're hubbada and don't understand the microphone needs to be right in front of their lips, they're not the right person for this honor. So, and that's that individual, ideally, we can winnow down in March and select in April.
Okay.
April is the deadline for picking both the Grand Marshal and the keynote speaker.
Okay. Terrific. So if you have any other ideas, please forward the names to Terry so we can make
For
the
either of
list
those positions.
for either
Yeah.
position.
Mhm. And by the way, if at this point you have a strong sentiment for or against any individual candidate, you could send that to me as well, and we can, share a lot of information offline. Because again, for the hundreds of people watching this broadcast, we don't use the names of individuals that we are considering because we don't want to raise false hopes among those candidates, all of whom are deserving, but if they don't get chosen, we don't want to raise false hopes.
Okay. And for the communications that you're sending out back to the parade about those, could you start CCing me on those?
Yeah.
Just so I can
Yeah.
start collecting them?
Now, as I remember our discussion on the person who is shadowing you, or will be, you thought that it should be somebody who would be on the commission for a longer term or a younger person.
They don't have to, first of all, they don't have to be on the commission. So if you have somebody
Oh.
in your back pocket who is ready, willing, and raring to go,
It could be anybody then.
It can be
Yeah.
anyone, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
because
that broadens the base.
between Phil Kraft and myself, we had a non-commissioned member do it for 2 years.
Ah, great.
And there were actually, there were a pair that did it for 2 years, and then there was, Sarah did it for 2 years, I
Yeah.
think. So there's precedent. Okay. Okay. So any other thoughts on Memorial Day Parade? Any other questions?
Except that we hope it's going to be really nice weather.
I hope so, yeah. And that's kind of an all hands on deck kind of a thing. I think we've all lived through it at least one other year, so that'll be good times. Okay, July 4th ceremony, Terry Wood had volunteered to start looking into that. Since she is not here, we will get an update next time from her on that.
We don't have a meeting in July, right? July and August, we don't have meetings?
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay.
Just that Terry and Jamie Stevenson did have a meeting with Scott Vander Eyden
Oh,
last
did they?
week.
Oh, good, okay.
I don't know what the outcome of the meeting was, but they did have their preliminary meeting.
Yeah, and I think Jamie is going to work with Terry on the project.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
the
And
plan.
who was the third person?
So Scott Vander Eyden,
Oh.
who is the vice commander for the VFW post, For any number of years, he's been the one organizing and running the push-pull parade that takes place on July 4th. So the thought process was whatever we may come up with for July 4th observation, that it would not conflict with the push-pull parade. And Scott's a great guy for logistical support. So I'm sure, not only in addition to making sure that there's no conflict, Scott would also, I am sure, be able to supply a whole lot of logistical analysis on the how-to.
Are they thinking of doing another parade, or?
I don't know. I'm not, thankfully, I'm not on that one. I would doubt it's a parade, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking it probably won't be either.
Yeah.
It sounded like something more Declaration of Independence reading and maybe some sort of historical reenactment.
Okay,
It sounded like that was the,
so July, we should put
Direction.
something in for 4th of July for them.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes indeed.
So I'm going to tell everybody that May and July are definitely closed for the display case.
Correct,
Right.
and
And November.
November was. the-
And early November.
Well, when was was that the Constitution? No, that's Veterans Day. When, didn't they want, I think you had blocked it off.
You have
for
an
the
application in
Constitution.
already for
It should
Constitution
already
Week.
be in, yeah.
Yeah.
So I forget which
what
one
it
that was.
for, to be honest.
Constitution
For the
Week.
That's right,
Constitution,
Constitution. Mhm.
but I can't remember the date on that, but.
It was
but-
early, it was early in November, I think.
I think it's either September or October.
We can go back and look at the
Isn't that-
minutes for that.
Oh, I thought it was in November, to go with Veterans Day. I think
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
No, not for the Constitution. There might be something for Veterans Day also, but this was 2 or 3 months ago.
September 17th.
Oh, okay.
So September block for Constitution. Okay?
Okay, so those 3 months are blocked.
Well, again, I'm not looking at the application, but I suspect that application is probably from September 1 to September 18th, I would suspect.
She was in there for a couple of weeks, I know, yeah.
And who is doing that?
The Daughters of the American Revolution.
DAR, right, okay.
And for us, for November, for Veterans Day, that too is just going to be from approximately October 25th to November 12th.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
we should reach out to Al Miller about the Heritage Trail. to
I
see if-
suggested that to Jamie.
To see if he wants to put that in there,
Just
and, you
for
know,
awareness. Yeah.
maybe that could be part of the July 4th thing.
Yeah.
Why don't you text Terry the guy's name
Yeah.
and contact info?
Yeah.
I have Terry's email if anybody needs it.
Okay. All right, does anyone have any new business? Anyone? New business? Okay.
Do you want her email?
I've got it.
Okay.
All right, so we're filling up the display case. This is good. Good stuff.
Now, the ones for like Memorial Day, since we're doing it, we don't have to put an application in, do we?
No.
No, okay. Less paperwork is
We're
better.
not designing it and putting together a display, it's the committees and whatever. I mean, so for Memorial Day, like, is it us?
I'll have to see, we may have some stuff downstairs.
Yeah, have to look.
My memory, which again is a Swiss cheese memory, a lot of holes in it. But I think we have pictures of past Memorial Day parades. And
You know, Milford did a really interesting thing at the pizza place there, the one that they have at Stanford too, that everybody goes to. They love their pizza. What's it called?
Colony.
Colony Grill, thank you. In the Colony Grill in Milford, they sent this thing out asking for people to send in photographs of relatives and friends from their military days. And they did this fabulous display that went down the entire entrance wall. And they put everybody's photo up with the names on it. Something like that, I think, would be really cool. I mean, we could put out a request to people to send in photos if they want to be included.
Now, you know what? There's a, when I say new, she's been there for a year now. There's a new reporter at Darien Times who's been very easy to communicate with. And in addition to what she's got that the Darien Times had, I gave her a bunch of stuff last year that she put in, so.
Yeah, they
she'd
do that
be-
supplement with all the
She,
pictures.
yeah, I could get, it'd be that easier to get a bleed sheet from her than to have people send stuff in.
This is true, but you want to make sure that
You
people
know,
want to
easy.
use it.
E-
Yeah.
Easy is the key word here. Unless you want to do it.
No, but you also want to make sure that people want to be included in that. Some people might be private and not want that.
Well, if they submitted the picture to the newspaper, I don't think
It's
they'll have
already
a
a done
problem.
deal.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
It's already been out there.
And the other thing I've been working on with a big boost from the veterans coordinator in my new town of Norwalk, Jeff DeWitt, he's a great guy, and he's really helped me to assemble information about putting flesh on the bones of the servicemen who were killed in Vietnam from town. So that might also be something good to put in there. Oh, and speaking of which, again, with the help of Jeff, I was able to contact a child of one of the guys killed in Vietnam. And I contacted her before Memorial Day last year. And between health and travel considerations, she could not attend last year. But I told her I would reach out to her in February of this year to see if she were able to come. And if she is able to make it, I'd like to break precedent, and instead of having the first selectman read all the names of the war dead, to have this woman at least read the names of the Vietnam casualties. You know, rather than just having her there, you know,
Have her participate.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
So, I'll
What
keep
is-
you-
oh, we don't
I'll
do
keep you
names.
posted.
That's what the name was, we don't do names, got it.
I'll keep you posted if she is able to make it.
All right. Well, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right. Well, if there's no new business, do we have a motion for Carabillo? Motion to adjourn. Nancy, motion. A second? Isabel, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Adjournment.
The meeting is adjourned at 4.
Please take the last of the chocolate.